Hi guys, I'm going to give you all a few minutes to come in. Good to see you today. Let me know you're here and where you're from and that you can hear me. Thumbs up, give me a little love, whatever you want to do to show that you're out there. Um, I lost track of time today. Oops. I was so involved in what I was doing, I forgot that it was time to go live. So maybe a few seconds late, not too terribly bad. I see a couple of you showing up. Today we're going to talk. Hi, Lori. Good to see you here. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you here. You're from South Dakota. Y'all have got good weather or bad weather there. Hi, Kim from Wisconsin. We're supposed to do Wisconsin this fall, but I mean, for Thanksgiving, but sounds like my in laws do not want us to come. I think they are COVID scared. So, hey, good to see you guys. So, I had a couple of questions last week about how to do multicolored text or text with an outline so that you could get two different styles text in both BES4 and PE Design. So we will start with the easiest place, which is PE Design. You had snow yesterday. Oh, I'm so glad I'm not there. It's 75 degrees outside right now. It's not really lovely. I mean, it's kind of cloudy and rainy today, but it's still 75 degrees. I'm all over that still. November the 10th and 75 degrees. Yesterday we had the warmest temperatures that we've had on record. So for that day, it's kind of great. So, hey, Connie, Connie's just down the road from me in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. So good to see you guys here today. Monroe, Louisiana. Tracy, I think I've said this before. I have actually been in your city, but it's been many, many years ago. You have a tornado watch right now. Where are you, Kimberly? That's crazy. Oh, Wisconsin. Okay, yeah. Ooh, that's y'all have got that front system that's kind of through here the end of the week. So yeah, hopefully we don't get any massive weather from that. We have our share of tornadoes down here as well. Not my favorite time when we have tornado land. Okay, so Whitewater, Wisconsin. Oh, you're just up from. Have you been to Carrie's? Carrie's so unique. She's got a great store down there in Whitewater. I've been there a few times, so I like that. Hi from the UK. Ooh, that's good. We've got people from other countries today. What time is it over there, Angie? It's kind of late there, isn't it? All right, guys. Let's get started. So I'm going to start with the easiest place to do two color text, and that is in PE Design. If you've got it, great. If you don't, we can do it in BES4. It's just there are preset ones that are that way, but then there are others that aren't. So that you can make it work, but it's a little bit more of a workaround. So let's dive in with PE Design first and go from there. So let me grab up my PE Design and share my screen. So here we go. I'm going to close my wizard out. Actually, I have to get on the right screen to close the wizard. All right, text tool and the normal text tool is what we're going to go with today. So we're going to click on our design page to activate the tool that tells it you're talking to it, and then you're going to type in your text. So let's just be happy today. So I'm going to type in the word happy, and I'm going to make it bigger. You don't want to do outline text on something that is not a little bit larger because you will get more of a blob than anything else. The key thing to remember in PE Design when you make text large is you need to know how big the longest stitch is going to be. So if I come in here and I zoom in around my design, the longest stitch is probably going to be across that H or across that A right there. So let's measure that. If I measure I grabbed my ruler on my toolbar, and I'm going to click on the left-hand side and drag it over to the right-hand side and click. And down at the bottom left corner here, you can see how long that stitch is. That's 8.52. That's pretty long for a satin stitch, so I would probably want to change the stitch to something else. Just keeping that, you just need to keep that in mind. Now, I do have a large hoop size selected, so it looked like my text was tiny, but it truly isn't. So let's go back to a 4x4 hoop here. So yeah, you can see I had quite the monster size text, and we can make that smaller and we can smush it in. You can do whatever you want to with it. So the easy way to do this is go up to the text tab at the top. This is PE Design 10 or 11. I'm actually working in 11, but the same method works from PE-DESIGN Next all the way up to PE-DESIGN 11. So it doesn't change the process. You're going to come up here to where it says not sewn, and you're going to pick your outline stitch type. Pick a stitch, any stitch, it doesn't matter. So if you want a satin outline, that is a zigzag stitch. Now let's look at this in realistic preview. That's quite a thick outline, right? I'm going to change the color so it's not so stark against it. Well, actually, no, let's leave it at black so you can see it. But you can change that. So you can go over to the sewing attributes and you can reduce the outline width to 1 or 1.5. So you'll notice then it's not as bulky. You have 2-color text. If you want the outline to sew first, you can actually do that in your sewing order window. Drag the outline to stitch first, and then it will stitch before the text. If you did that, then your 2 millimeters might be more appropriate because you'll get more of a shadow, or maybe 3 millimeters. So it all depends on how you're planning on stitching the text. If you want the outline to go first, you can stitch it with a thicker, bolder outline. If you want it to go last, then I would reduce the width of the zigzag width. And let's change that back into the correct sewing order, or the order that it's normally in. Now, what else can you do? You can come up to the drop-down menu. You can choose different style outlines. You could choose a running stitch. The default run of a running stitch is going around 1 time. You can increase that up to 5 times. So the more times it goes around, the bolder it's going to be. The default time, as I said, is 1. Most of the time, you're going to want it to go at least twice. You have a triple stitch. This is your forward, back, forward, better known as a bean stitch. So it's a little heavier of a stitch. You have motif stitches that you can add. Now, depending on the motif and what size you have your motif depends on whether you're going to like that or not. So let's change that motif down to 5 and see if we like that one any better. Not so much. So let's see what else we've got that we might like. How about a little blanket stitch here? Where did that go? Not crazy about that one either. And 5, actually, it is going to let me make it lower. Let's go to 2. But you actually do have what's called an EV stitch. That is your blanket stitch. That should do a little bit better. And the stroke length is what you're seeing there. So that would, if you shorten your stroke length, it won't crisscross. This is the space between the strokes. So if you shorten that, and I am in metric, gang. I am a metric kind of girl when it comes to my settings. Let's go with 3 and see if we like it. But that gives you an idea what you can do with that. A V stitch is what we consider an invisible applique stitch. So it's kind of a zigzag looking stitch. You also have stem stitches. Those look a little hairy. You have candle wicking stitches, and candle wicking stitches can go down, I believe it is, to 2 millimeters. Nope, 3. And you can space them apart. So that wouldn't necessarily be great for the text that we have, but it gives you an idea. If you get bigger, you could do that. You also have a chain stitch, and there are 2 styles of chain stitch. You have your regular chain and then your diamond chain, and these can be made smaller as well. You can also adjust the number of times it goes around. So default is at 5, but you can take it to where it only goes around 1 time. 3 is as small as we can make it. So I always try to see how far down I can go with a stitch. But as I said, we aren't working with huge text here, so just depends on what you're doing. And if you don't want a fill, you just want the outline, click on the text itself, go back up to the text box and change the satin stitch to not sewn. And now you have just outline text. And in that case, you can make this text as large as you would like it. So if I want to make it really huge and put a candle wicking stitch on it, I can certainly do that. And you can reduce the spacing, increase the spacing. You get to choose. You are the master of this. So if you reduce the spacing to where it's right up next to each other, you're going to have polka dotted letter. I actually do use that one a lot without a fill just because it's fun, but you can do whatever you want. So that is how you do two color outline text in PE Design. Now, if you want to have large lettering, you can change your stitch to a fill stitch. You can also choose programmable fills. Programmable fills take longer to stitch, and sometimes they are not your best option because depending on where it starts and stops stitching, you can get a gap. So keep that in mind when you are working with it. Okay, so I'm going to come back and see if there's any questions so far. Any questions we've got besides, is it PE Design or 10 or 11? And yes, Marie, it is available to view later. It'll be done once we finish the live. The stream is live. Oh, Kimberly. Okay, yeah. I can't see pictures of you guys, so, and I'm terrible with names. You've heard me say that a million times. I am great with faces, and I can tell you where I met you. I can give you the whole conversation, but names I'm terrible with. That is my bad. It's hard for that. Hi, Leanne. Good to see you. Leanne may join us in a few weeks, so look forward to that. She's from Australia, guys. Let me give you a little reminder. I'm giving away BES4 in a couple of weeks. I'm probably towards December time frame. So if you want to enter that, you need to like my Facebook page. Well, actually, you don't need to. I would appreciate it if you would like my Facebook page and if you would follow my Facebook page and if you would share this video. You also need to, in the comments, just as it says on this ticker going down across here, put in hashtag need BES4. Run it all together, please. If it's not like that, my picker doesn't pick it up. So that I tried to make it as easy as I could. No spaces, hashtag need BES4. So if you don't have BES4 and you would like to enter, that is the way you enter that one. All right, let me come back. So yes, so Leanne, have you gotten your luminary yet? Has it arrived? Has the big day happened yet? She's in Australia and she was waiting for her new machine to arrive before she came on. She likes to talk software and she likes to talk PE design and she would love to talk BES4, but they don't have it over there. Oops. Okay, guys. So let's go over to BES4 and explore two color text there. Since I don't see any, this may be a quick live today since I don't see a lot of questions. So let me come over here. All right, so, oh, you're getting a 1055X, you lucky girl. Okay, so here we have our BES4 up, and I'm going to turn the banner off for right now so that you guys can see the whole screen. And let's see here. Let's go to our normal text tool and click on the design page to activate the tool. It will automatically start flashing a cursor once you click on that design space, the white space in the middle. That's what I call the design page. And let's type in our same text, happy, and we'll click away from it. If we look at our font pull-down menu, at the very top, we have fonts that are listed with 2CL. That means they are two color fonts. But if you only get one letter, that means it doesn't have all of those characters available. So that one's an all cap font. I would need to type in all caps. And when you'll get a hint right there that it is all caps because it is all caps written there. If you come down to fancy script, however, that means we can have both because you can tell that little hint is there for us. And if we look at it, when we look at it in our sequence view window, you'll see that the blue shows first and the red shows second. So just keep that in mind. If you want to move that A closer to the H, click back on your text tool, click the diamond and drag it over. And you can overlap that letter. Since it was just that single letter, you didn't need to change the spacing for the entire text. You just needed it to do it for that letter. And we're going to click on the drop-down menu. We have 2-color sports. That is going to be an all-cap font again. So let's go with all caps. Now, how do I change the colors of these fonts? Because they are set in blue and red. What do I want to do? Well, if I come up here to my color tab, remember the blue is the first one. I can click on a color tile and say change that for color 1. And I can pick a different color and say change that for color 2. And I now have my 2 color of text that I would like to have. Okay. And then let's see what else we have. 2 color team medium. And these are all built in that are already 2 color for you so that you don't have to think about it. And this is the 2 color team small. So if you're wanting a smaller font, that would be one to go with. And then you've got Wild West. Wild West has upper and lower case. You can tell by that little hint there. But it's telling me I've got a segment that's too large. So let's look. Nope, it's fine. And then you have 3D shadow. So that gives you 2 colors with a drop shadow. All right. So now, if there's another font that you want to be 2 color, you can, if it has an O in front of it. So like Aiden has a O in front of it, and I can click apply. I can put an outline on this very easily. So I can say standard with a run, standard with a run is a running stitch, standard with a steal is a satin stitch with a zigzag around it. Motif with a steal is a motif fill with a zigzag around it. So if I choose standard with a run and click apply, it will be there. But you're going to say, well, where is that outline? So let's come look at it. That outline is in the same color. So this doesn't give you that 2 color outline. It gives you the single color outline. If we choose standard with a steal and click apply, same thing. Now, our text is way too small for that one. So let's make it bigger. And I'll click on my select tool and let's make this guy bigger. Because otherwise you don't see the steal stitch in the middle of it. It's kind of like doing a applique. You want to be able to see that in the middle of it. So let's watch it stitch. I'm just going to do two letters here so that we can see how it stitches. Let's change it to HA. And let's watch this stitch. I would go and look, but I don't see any drop stitches. So we can zoom way in on this and look and see if there's any drop stitches. I don't see any drop stitches, so you can ignore that message. And let's watch it stitch. So it's going to do the fill first of both letters. So if you had an entire text segment, it would do the fill of both letters first. When you get close to where it ends, this is where it gets tricky. I'm going to do a +1 stitch at a time down here on the bottom on my simulator. And this is how you're going to get it to be 2 colors. And it's going to do its little tie off right there. Okay, so now it started your outline. So let's back up 1, 2 stitches and let's push the stop button. When you press the stop button, it makes a color stop. Oh, man. Oops. Well, my program's not liking me today, so let's try that one more time. Hold on a second. I'll come up and answer questions here while we're waiting on it to load. All right, Jackie, does the software build from another? Meaning if you have BES4, do you need PE-Design 11? They are two different programs. I use them both in conjunction with each other, but you don't have to have one in order to use the other. They are independent programs. BES4 is more of a customizing program, whereas PE-Design is a full digitizing and customizing and editing program. So they both have unique things in them that the other doesn't. BES4 has more fonts built into it that are digitized absolutely beautiful. They they have 200 plus fonts in there. Small text and others. It also has word collage, whereas your PE-Design does not, but BES4 is not a digitizing program. So if you're wanting to create something from scratch, you would not be using BES4. Let's see here. I do not see any other questions. So I'll take that one off and we'll go back and see if I can make this work here again. Let's see if I'm going to crash and burn again. We'll go with HA and we're going to standard with a steel. We've got it there. Let's make it bigger. And I'm going to zoom in on it. And let's watch it sew. So there we go. I'm dragging it along till I get close to the end. Now I can back up a few stitches. And we'll go forward one more, and then we'll press the stop button. Everybody hold your fingers. Cross those fingers that it likes me today. Okay, it does not like that particular font today. So it could be my system resources, although I did restart before we did this, but oh well. You know, when it's live, you can't help it. So, oh yeah, Doris, that's a great upgrade from the 1000 to the 1055X. You're going to be in heaven. It's got so many different features than what my 1000 had on it. I'm seriously considering trading in my personal 1050. All right, so I'm going to pick a different font today because that one is not liking me at all. Let's try Baby Point. Make it a little bit bigger, and let's look at it in 3D. Can we see it? Yes. Okay. Yes, Leanne, I could stitch it at the machine and wait on it. So since it does complete the first letters, we could stitch it at the machine and watch when it finished that and then stop it. But it's easier if you put the stop in first. Since you can do it here, you may as well try. There we go. Don't crash and burn on me. Well, guys, it is not my day for that one. Yes, Margaret, our pillow class meeting is tomorrow. So I will send out a Zoom invite to you guys this afternoon, and I'll actually put it in our Facebook group. Okay. So we're going to try one last trick, and if that doesn't work, then you guys are going to try this on your own. No, Tammy, we don't have color stop in PE-Design 11 in this function. But yes, we can do it similar. I'm going to try one last trick. All right, we're going to preserve it as stitches first. If that doesn't work, then I am calling it uncle for the day. You know, when you've done something a million times and it doesn't work, when you're trying to show it, it drives you nuts. There we go. We got to stop, I think. Yes. So now we have one color, two colors. Preserve as stitches is going to be your friend on that one. So I will go back and do that a little slower now that we've got the trick worked out for us today. Normally that doesn't happen that way, but we'll go for it. So let's see here. Text tool, HA. I'm going to make it bigger so you can see it. And one thing that you can look at is to look at the properties. So if you don't want that steel to be that wide, you can change it to make it thinner. So that's 2 millimeters. We can take it down to 1. So you now have a thinner outline. We're going to right mouse click on it and choose preserve as stitches. And then slide it and let us see where it goes. Oh, let's back it up. I went too far. There we go. My mouse is being fast on me here. All right, so we can back up 1 stitch, press the stop button, press it a second time. There we go. I've got to be forceful with my stop. Now, there's our second color. And that was easy. So that's how you can do that. It's possible. It's just a little bit more of a workaround. As I said, it is much easier to do this in PE-Design 11 to get 2 color text unless you use the 2 color fonts. But it's possible. It's doable. The key on that one seems to be preserve as stitches. I mean, it should work with the color stop the way I was doing it first, but you know, the loveliness of live, sometimes it messes up. So at least you know the fix. So Tammy, we do not have color stop in PE-Design 11, but we do have a way to do that. Okay, so it's called split at point. Let me come over here and let's look at PE-Design 11. You don't need to do it with your text, but let's say I'm going to turn off the outline for this one. And we're going to just make an H. So let me go into my text attributes and take this down to just an H. What am I trying to do here? Actually, I want to turn off my fill and turn on my outline because this makes more sense. Now, I need to, first of all, I can't do anything with this one until I convert it to stitches. So if I convert it to stitches, I can then play with it or convert it to outlines, either one. Let's go zoom to selected object. Now, let's say I want to split it. I can right mouse click and choose split at point, or I can go to my split stitches tool and snip where I want it to be separated. So now, if I come into my color tab, I can actually have 2 colors of an H on the outline. Okay. That's the split stitches tool gives you the ability to split things apart. You also have, if I undo that and go back to where it was not split into stitches, split. So let's come here and let's click on our text and let's zoom in where we want to do this. Now, here's a little trick. Come and hit that little line and you can get yourself a little spot where you want to split this off. You can right mouse click on an edit point and choose split at point. Go to the opposite side. Oops. And let's select the opposite side and click on it. And then right mouse click on it and split at point. And then you're going to have to do it on the undersewing as well. So, oops, delete. So now we have undersewing. And let's click on that. Let's hide these guys. And then we're going to click on. Evidently, we've got an extra spot here. I'm going to add a point there and split that at point. And then go to the opposite side. This is not working as well as I thought of, but gives you concepts. So now we should have one leg, two legs. We need this one. So let's watch that sew. So it's this one right here. Let's watch that piece embroider. And it goes up and around and down and then back. Aha. So I was hitting the wrong spot. We want it to go right there. So let's stop. Click on our select point tool. This is our split it point. Now, there you go. These three, change their color. And let's turn our eyeballs back on. And you know you want the top half to be a different color. So pick it. Okay. So, I mean, that's not something I would do on a normal day, but that gives you an idea that, yes, you do have that here, but it's called split at point in this software. So if I did not have undersewing, however, let's see, sewing attributes. If I did not have undersewing on it, that might have been the easier route to go. Let's zoom in. And let's look at it in stitch view. Yeah, there you go. So now select point. We want it right there, basically. But we do need to convert it to stitches first, because you can't play with anything if it's not in stitch format when it comes to this. Split at point, go to the opposite side. Split at point. Now, two halves. Change the color, red. Okay, guys. Cindy, the pillow class is something that I did a 6-week session. We did a fall pillow. I don't know where mine happens to be right now. Actually, I think it's in that corner back there, but here. Oh, where'd it go? So this is a class I recently taught. We did a Zoom class. It was 6 weeks. It was 2 hours a day. It should have been 1 hour a day each week, one day every week. So but it ended up taking us 2, just simply because of the way Zoom works and everybody figuring it out. But we're meeting, and that class is meeting again tomorrow to show their finished product. So mine is finished. Actually, the one I've got back there is finished. This one I haven't got the button on yet, but everybody did in different color themes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how those turned out. So they do not have an upgrade, Marcia. She traded hers in. So she's saying she upgraded herself. There is not an official upgrade. I'm thinking of trading my machine in or selling mine outright and buying the new 1055. I have it here, but I don't own this one. The one in the other room is my personal machine. And since a lot of times I'm doing samples on both, it would be nice to run the same thing on both machines if I need to, or if I need to run a sample while I'm working out here with you guys, I could do that. I can't run this one and talk to you at the same time because it gets a little distracting for you guys. Yeah, I know, Leanne. They talked about bringing it over there for you guys at one time, but they chose not to. So Tammy says the pillow class was so much fun. I'm glad. It's so much fun. We had it. It was a good time. I enjoyed it. So I am going to show them ideas for the next one. let them vote if I get two ideas done by tomorrow. We'll see. I've got one sitting back there, and then I will release it to the rest of the world. Somebody's angry. Why are we angry? Pat, why are you angry at me? Okay. Any other questions here, guys? All right. So if there's no other questions, then I'll do the other questions that there were last week. So when do you use in PE design? When do you use convert to stitches, convert to blocks, convert to this, convert to this, convert to whatever? Well, you just saw one reason to convert to stitches. It's to be able to split things apart that you've created yourself. But let's go in here and let's just import a design. Let me find a design. Okay, so I've got these two designs here, and I've got them made, and I want one to be, Robin, I'm glad you enjoyed the pillow class as well. All right, so let's say I want this stitched, but I don't want the hat to go stitch over the top of the edge of the shoes. How would I do that? That's when I would use my split stitches tool. No divide by color on this one. This is flat out split stitches, but I'm going to tell you a trick first. Go to the zoom, draw around it so that you get right up in here from where you want to be, okay? And then click back on your select tool immediately so that you don't accidentally keep zooming in. We're going to click on our stitches tab and choose the split stitches tool. You'll notice you get a ghosted image of the design that you have laying on top of it. You can then snip around the part that you don't want to keep. Leave a little bit of overlap there so that you don't have a gap. Once you've double clicked, you can press delete, and now your design is going to stitch without the shoes sitting underneath them. So that is when you would use the split stitches tool. All right. Now let's think about this one. Let's say I want the top of this hat to be a different color than the brim of the hat. In that case, I would use a combination of things. The first thing I would do is divide it by color, because this design has black dashed lines around it that says it is in fixed stitch format. That means I didn't draw it, or it was done in a previous version of PE design, or it's a design I purchased, okay? Those black dashed lines are telling you that that is in stitches. You can't change the stitches for it. So if you see the stitches tab, that is also the indicator that the design is in stitches. To get that hat top to be a different color, I would first need to divide the design by color. Once I do that, I have an orange color that's separate. So if I picked that up, I could actually move that away. That's not what I want to do, so I'm going to undo. I want to mess with the pink. So I'm going to select my pink, click on my select patterns icon, and use my split stitches tool now. Now I can simply snip around the top of that hat, double click when it's surrounded. It is now a separate piece, but I'm going to drag it back up to where it should sew in the order. And you could then change the top of the hat to a different color than the brim of the hat. So that is when I would use a combination of divide by color and split stitches. Now, if I want to change the stitch of something, that's when I convert something to blocks or to outline. If you want it to maintain the curve that it's got, then you choose convert to blocks. I usually leave it at normal and see what happens. If it doesn't do what I think it should, then I'll do it a different version, but we'll go with normal for now. And let's change that stitch type to a concentric circle. Not what I would choose, but giving you some ideas here. Let's say you wanted it just to fill stitch instead of a satin stitch. That's how you do that. It gives you the option of changing the stitch that is currently there into a different style. It also gives you the capability of changing the density. So if you stitched it out and you thought it was too thin, you could come in and increase your density. Or you could decrease your density. Or you can add undersewing to it. It gives you the capability of trying to fix somebody else's. You can also reshape elements. So once you click on it, you can click on your edit point tool. Let's zoom in. Let's say I wanted this tail to be longer. I can come in and adjust the shape. So it turns it into a design as if I drew it myself. Sometimes it gives it a design. It doesn't look like you think you would draw it. So it's not truly as if you drew it yourself, but it gives you the capability of adjusting the stitch types, the stitch angles, and all of those items like that. Did I forget any of them? Let's go back to a stitch format. So we've got this flower. Let's select it, object zoom. What are my other items? So I can convert it to an outline. If I wanted it to be just something as an outline, let's pick a different pattern here. Let me go new page. And let's import a different design here. I'm doing this off of the cuff, guys. I hadn't really thought this one through today, so hold on. Let's go to sports. No. What am I looking for? Oh, I know what I want. Okay. So let's say we've got this design here and we want to make it bigger. But if we hold our control key and our control key down and we resize it, if you hold your shift key down at the same time, by the way, it keeps it in the center of the design. You'll notice that it messes that area right there up because we've exceeded the capabilities of it being able to do that. Those satin stitches got too long. That area got too messy. So you could do convert to blocks, or you can convert out to outline. Since really the only thing that messed up is that pink, I would first divide by color. And then I would only grab my pink, and you can either choose convert to blocks or convert to outline. I'm going to choose convert to outline. And since it's each of the petals that seems to be an issue, we're going to choose convert parts to outline and see if it will give us what we want. Well, it doesn't really. So, but that gives you the capability of coming in and adjusting it and making the shape work. So that would not be a good use of that one. Let's undo again and go back and choose convert to blocks. That gives you that capability once again of adjusting those blocks to make the stitches actually work the way you would like them to work. I personally would change that from a satin stitch to something else when you get that big, just so you know. Okay. Last one. I really want to give you one that would be good for convert to outline. I'm trying to think. Okay. Here you go. Let's say you need an applique. You can choose convert to outline, convert parts to outline, and now you can actually use the applique wizard to create two separate appliques. That's teeny tiny. So oh no, wait, hold on. I forgot what I was doing last. The last settings that you do are going to be the settings that apply. So let's change this down to 2.5 and default. So that added it. So I want to go back in. Sorry, I went to my default settings. We're going to choose replace. I want a zigzag, and we're going to click OK. Gives you that, but let's see here. Let's make it bigger because that is kind of a teeny tiny flower. It would not embroider well as an applique that small. Applique wizard. Replace. Click OK. And there you go. Now, there would be some futzing up with that because look how ugly that is down at the bottom, but that does give you the capability of doing that. And you can see why it's an issue down here. Anytime you see a lot of points that are jacked up on top of each other here like this, that would mean you need to come in and take some stuff out and fix. That should then give you the capability of making that a nice, pretty smooth applique. There were more parts that were messed up than that, but that gives you the concept. Now when you do the applique wizard, let's take it down to 2.5. There you go. So that smoothed that bottom part out more than it was before. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to come answer questions, and I think I have pretty much done what we needed to do today. So, okay. Oh, it was you? Your mouse is going nuts on me today? All right. If you want to separate a design and you want the underneath part, but it's missing stitches where the upper part was, how do you fill in the missing part? You'd have to create it again. So let's say you did the split stitches tool on a flower and you now have a gaping hole. You either have to draw it in yourself or find another design. So that's a misconception that people have, is when you take something out, you can put something that you can, that there's a part there. If it's missing to begin with, it's not going to be there when you take something out. So let me, I think that's what you're asking me, Tammy. So let's look, let's look back over here. Wrong button. Okay. So for instance, I go up here and I grab this flower with a butterfly. Let's look at this in stitch view. If I zoom in on it, if I took this butterfly out, there is no petal there. Unless I want to draw that petal in, I don't need to worry about it. So that may be the perfect butterfly for me, but that's probably not the perfect flower for me because the butterfly is sitting on top of it. In this case, I would use my split stitches tool and I'd snip that butterfly out if I wanted to use it, but I wouldn't be worrying about the flower because the flower is not going to be a complete flower. Okay. So that's not what I meant to do. I surrounded it, but I would be deleting the flower. Now, how would I get rid of the rest of this? This is a pretty slick trick you all will like. If I click on my select tool and I click my select point tool, if you notice over here in my sequence view, in my sewing order window, I have two parts that don't need to be embroidered. If I press the tab key on my keyboard the first time, just tap it and press delete, that section's gone. Tap it again, press delete. I now have one complete butterfly. Now you're going to say, but Cindy, there was a butterfly on that design already. It was out there by itself. But Cindy's going to say, yeah, but that wasn't the purpose of this exercise. We're showing you how to get rid of something while keep one thing while getting rid of the rest of it. Yes, it would be very easy to grab this butterfly with the split stitches tool, but harder to, it's never that butterfly that's sticking out there by itself. It's always the one that's attached to the flower. But if you wanted to keep that flower, then you would need to do a little bit more work. So you would divide by color. And then you come into your sewing order window and pick up the butterflies. I'm going to grab them all. Otherwise, I'd have to do split stitches tool. So we're just going to get all of the butterflies and delete those. But now you're left with a gaping hole. How do you put that back in? Well, you would have to draw it in. And the best way to do this one would be with a manual punch tool because you do have some shading and play tools with that one. However, it is not going to look like the original unless you sit there and this particular design the way it was drawn, if you look at the way those stitches are zigzagged in there, you're not going to be able to get that in there unless you manually do it yourself. So that is my tip to you, is know when you want to take something out. And if you want to put it back in, then that's not the thing to take out. Not really. So Tammy wants to know, could I copy and paste from another part of the flower? If I want to really work at it hard, I could. I would have to grab both the dark orange and the light yellow part, the yellow and the orange part of that, and put them over there. Not optimal. It's, you can't, let me put it to you this way. You can do anything you want. Anything's possible. How hard do you want to work at it? In that case, I would look for another flower that's appropriate. I don't want to work that hard. That's more time and effort than it's worth. You have to think about how much time do you want to invest in recreating the wheel? It's doable, not optimal. So, I mean, that's really what I'll say. Like I said, personally, at that point, I would say, okay, I either create my own flower or I find a flower that's appropriate. Because there are a gazillion designs out there and you can always find something that's close to what you want. If it's missing a part, it's going to be missing the part. Otherwise, you're going to have to draw it in yourself or snip around it. It depends on how hard you want to work. Okay, guys. Any other questions? Wow, I took more time today than I thought I would. There is one other piece that, actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to plop up the banner one more time so that you guys, anybody that did not see this at the beginning, if you would like to enter to win a BES4, the BES4 giveaway will happen sometime in December. Somebody's going to get a happy Christmas present there. Please make sure that you're not grabbing one if you've already got it, please don't enter. Make sure that you put in there #NeedBES4. If you would, I would appreciate it greatly if you would like and follow my page and share this post. Not a requirement, but I would really appreciate that. I'm actually trying to grow my page a little bit more. All right, guys. Any other questions before I sign off for the day? Let's see here. I will do this. I think it's still good through the end of the day. Coupon code for Lettering So Easy, which has its own private group. Don't ask to enter that, please, unless you have the workbook for BES4 lettering. That's called Lettering So Easy for BES4. If you ask to join it and you don't answer the questions and you don't agree to the terms, you're going to get contacted by me. And if you don't have the book, I'm going to say no. It won't do you any good. The group is specifically for that. It's for Q&A. I am currently, until the end of the year, doing a bi-weekly lesson for everybody. Those are still in that group. That is part of your purchase for the first year. Digitizing So Easy. Here's your coupon code for it this week. It is still good. I know until tomorrow. I'll make sure that it extends through the rest of the week. We'll call it my Veterans Day special today. If I have any veterans in this group, thank you for your service. If I have any current members of the military, thank you for your service. My husband is from a military family, so we do like our military in my family. All right, guys. Marcia, I don't have any power packs to give away. That's not, since I don't actually sell those, I don't have any to give away. BES4, one of the ladies in our group here, Pat Latham, donated 2 copies because she had extra ones and has allowed me to give those away to you guys. But unless I can't personally afford to go out and buy a copy of BES4 or the power packs to give away. That's more money than is in my pocket as well. If not, I probably wouldn't be doing this right here, huh? So you guys have a great rest of the week. Tammy, I'm glad you say you understand that that's good advice because, you can do it. There's nothing that's without. You can do anything you want with your software once you learn it. It's just how hard you want to work. Yeah, I know power packs would be nice, guys, but like I said, I don't have those to give away. Maybe I can sweet talk brother at some point and into allowing me to give those away. I'll try. We'll see. But if I gave Power Pack 1, you'd want Power Pack 2. So I don't know. I'll see what I can work out. Right now, what I have is BES4. So hashtag need BES4, and we'll work on the new year. I'll see if I can sweet talk something out of brother. Yes, there is a workbook for BES4. It's called Lettering So Easy for BES4, Jackie. Here, let me pop a banner up for that one. Actually, go to my website. You'll see it. It's called Lettering So Easy for BES4, and it's right on the banner. So it's pretty much the first thing that you should see. Okay. So thanks, Cheryl. I'm glad that you are enjoying the videos. I have enjoyed doing this year. It has been a way to keep me involved in doing things that I love to do. So, hopefully you guys, I don't get too deep in the well. I try not to, but sometimes I do, I know. All right, guys. You all have a wonderful rest of the week. My pup is saying it's time to go for a walk, so it is time to go for a walk. Stay safe. Hopefully nobody gets affected by the lovely Ada. And I think we're going to get a little bit of rain, but not much. So, all right, guys. Y'all have a great rest of the week. See you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.